Now, every so often there's a car that gets released that gets the world talking. And I think this has been one of those cars. This is the MG Cyberster, and I think this is one of the most interesting cars I've ever driven. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of all our future uploads. This is the MG Cyberster, and we first saw it in Singapore at the Singapore Motorshow earlier this year, and everybody's jaws were on the floor because this is the same brand that brought us very run-of-the-mill cars like the HS and the ZS and the 4 and the 5. But this is very much not run-of-the-mill. This is a good-looking car, it's an exciting car, and it looks every bit as exciting as well. And you can see this very long bonnet, sculpted downwards, tapering towards the front, very obviously styled by aerodynamics, both for range and of course performance. And now check it out, this paintwork, dynamic red this paintwork is called, and it does look very dynamic. It's glistening in the sunshine, and I do believe this is one of the best colours you can get for this car. Now as we come along to the side, first take a look at this really sleek, tightly packaged side profile. It looks really good, and it's going to look even better when I press this button, because this car has scissor doors, and because it's electric they go up and down on its own, and you can unlock them with the key if you wanted to, and it just looks the business. You take this car anywhere in a car park, people are like, "Mommy, Daddy, look, that car's doors go up." It's happened a few times, and you know what, it doesn't get old. It's fun to bring joy to the masses when you go out in your Cyberster. Now as we move along to the back of the car, you can see very obviously that this is a convertible. The roof is not here, which adds a very nice open air element to your driving when you're out and about in the Cyberster. Now as we come to the rear end, this is a good looking rear end, and I like a good looking rear end. We'll start at the bottom with this, the diffuser, which as you can see is pretty aggressive, and it just looks cool and adds a sporty element of the Cyberster's design. And speaking of design, this is one of the best design features I've seen on any car. Check out these tail lights in the shape of an arrow. Now these light up when of course you're on the brakes or when the headlights are on, or if you're indicating and it points to the direction that you want to go in. I think it's a really cool touch, and it looks good as well. Now, there's not much else going on up here, but there is a boot. You press this button, it pops open, and this is a manual tailgate, and unfortunately, even for somebody as professional as I am, I can't climb into this one. It's a bit too small for me, but I will say that it is plenty enough for even a weekend away, a short trip away. This car's been able to haul all of our camera gear. We've got our tripod that fits in here. We've got all of our other camera bags. We have a football that's in here. We've had drinks, and there's been space to spare. And I think this is really good cargo space for what is a two-door car. So here we are in the, well, only seats of the MG Cyberster, and it's a pretty nice place to be. You've got your electric heated seats, which are synthetic leather on the side and Alcantara inserted in the middle, and then the controls for those are on the door, as well as the speakers for your Bose premium sound system. Now in the middle you have your multifunction steering wheel, which is also wrapped in leather. And then behind that you have, I think, one of the key draws of this interior, the triple screen driver focused displays. You know, you got the one on the left for all your media information, as well as the screen for your wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You've got the one in the middle, which is your usual digital gauge cluster. And then this screen on the right here, funnily enough, shows you the weather every time you start the car, which I think is interesting. And then over here in the middle, you have this row of touch-sensitive haptic feedback buttons that can adjust your aircon temperature, your fan speed, as well as activate your hazard lights or the 360 camera. And then in the middle, you have your drive switch buttons, as well as a center screen for your aircon controls, as well as your driver assist features and other stuff like that. And now below that, you have your buttons for the roof, as well as the doors, cup holders, and you might think that on the two-door Roadster, storage space might come at a premium, which, while it does, it's actually not as bad as you might think. There's a slot here for you to put your phone. There's a center cubby under the armrest where your USB ports are, and then behind the seats, there's actually quite a decent amount of parcel self-storage with a net so your stuff doesn't fly forwards. And there are actually 2 rows of nets so you can put smaller items back there as well as bigger items directly behind the seats. Now I think this is a very impressive interior for a car of this size, and the only thing left to do is see how it drives. Alright, so here we are, getting ready to drive the MG Cyberster, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the roof. But actually raise up the roof because of 1, audio, and 2, of course, it's a convertible, so you have to see how the roof works, doesn't it? So the roof can be raised or lowered while you're driving at up to about 50 kilometers an hour. So I think the best way to start this video proper is with a launch. So left foot on the brake, right foot full on the gas. Let's go. Whoa, 0 to 100, 3.2 seconds from its 725 Newton meter, 500 horsepower dual electric motor setup. And it's a lot of power. This thing weighs a hair under 2 tons. So it's not light, but it's definitely not that heavy by EV standards. And this car, well, it just pulls out of any corner. You get so much grip with the all-wheel drive system and the 245 fronts and the 275 rears, that this thing just hooks and it fires you out of the corner down the straight. Now flat out this will do 200 kilometers an hour, which isn't that much, but of course it is an EV and they're never that fast in a straight line. But wow, the acceleration out of the corners is just, it's addicting. So we've got 4 available drive modes. We've got Comfort, Sport, Super Sport and Custom. I'm using Custom at the moment with the power setting all the way up, but the steering weight a little lower down, so it's a bit lighter and it feels a bit more natural to drive. But this thing is, it's no track weapon. You're not going to be setting lap records, but I would think for canyon carving or for B-road blasting, this is going to be a really fun vehicle to do in, especially if you're of the eco-conscious sort. So the suspension I think hasn't been tuned for out-and-out performance. So it is still quite soft and I would say comfort oriented, which makes it really comfortable to drive day to day. And even when you want to hammer it around a few corners, it will still soak up the punishment and give you a nice engaging drive. Now don't forget, of course, that this is still an EV, but it's fun to drive. Do I wish I had an engine? Sure. Will I like to go up and down the gears? Sure. But I'm not left wanting for very much with this car. It's fun. And I think that is the whole point of this vehicle. It's just fun. Is it the most practical EV? No, of course not. It's a 2-seater roadster. You're never going to get as much cargo space or carrying capacity or range as you would with, you know, an SUV or sedan or something. But is this the most fun EV you can buy? I think it's definitely up there. Now, roadsters in itself are a dying breed, which makes this car unique for that fact alone. But this is more than just an electric roadster. Because it is electric, it's a preview into our future, and it's a ray of hope that when we lose our engines and we lose that bit of soul, one thing we might not lose is fun. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.
Motorist.